It happens often. If anybody has been to a town of Fishkill meeting, uh, it's a bumpy ride. So anyway, that was that. So we are volunteers. We are residents of the town and the village. We have both people from both areas in our ranks. We are focused on responsible growth. We are nonpartisan, and I really want to stress that. Please don't label us. Conservatives are concerned about traffic too. Another brief story. I actually spoke to one of my neighbors who I like very much. My kids know him. We bring eggs to him. We've had them over the house. And he came up to me the other day and he said, took me aside, he's like, Karen, are you a liberal? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I like to think of myself as an American. Does the fact that I am against, that I am so vocal about the fact that there is too much traffic in Fishkill, is that what it, like, I don't know. But I do know that I have no idea what political party anyone in our group is. I assume it's across the spectrum. So, honestly, that kind of thing is hurtful. So wherever he got that information from, and we're still friends. I was like, yeah, are you conservative? My kids are going to still help you shovel your driveway. Like, what is this? But so we all have to kind of work together and accept the fact that this is a nonpartisan issue and it's a nonpartisan group. He signed some of our petitions, by the way. This guy helped us on a few different things. So he agrees with our mission. So we are focused on traffic and development. Those are our two things that we really focus on at Keep Fishkill Beautiful. There's a lot of other issues, but I was actually part of the comprehensive plan in the town of Fishkill. Traffic and development are the number one by a mile concerns of everyone in the village. And so that is our concern. And when there are no more concerns about traffic and development, we can all disperse and do something more interesting with our time. So we are a trusted voice. This is also important. We're going to talk about transparency and honesty a lot tonight. Okay, so I went into why are we sharing these videos? Why are we recording them? We don't do things in secret. I think there's a lot of sometimes paranoia around things. We are not like that. We really are not. So let's just show our history. We started in 2009, where a enormous condo development was proposed for Baxtertown Woods. If you all know that Baxtertown Road, where it kind of intersects with Osborne, it's about a mile from there is where this enormous complex would have been. We fought that, and that was the first time. That was when we formed in 2009, so several decades ago, and we won. Okay, and there were people in the community, and I had just moved here at that point, and I had people in the community say, listen, this is Fishkill. This is what they do. They develop. It's useless to fight this. And at the time, I said, nothing's useless. If the community wants it, then we'll step aside, but let's let everybody know what's going on. So it became really an awareness raising campaign, and that's mostly what we do. Now we fast forward, Keep Fishkill Beautiful really didn't do too much in the 2 decades after that. But we fast forward to the Church of the Nazarene, and they had wanted to and if you don't know that story, the Church of the Nazarene is on Main Street, directly across from the CVS, and they wanted to put in a high-density apartment complex. We won that too. And that was an even scarier fight, because I will tell you, this church had money, they had attorneys, they were polished, they put it all, again, someone came to us and said, you're not going to win this because they've got the money and they've got the attorneys. What turned it around was we had the numbers, and people did not want it. And it was exhausting. It was years. This fight was several years where we had to continually get up in front of the town, go to the village, rally people. But it worked, and it won. So now here we are, Jackson Crossing 2023, 3 years later. This is pretty much where Defense of Democracy, I'm sorry, that's my other group, where Keep Fishkill Beautiful kind of drew a line in the sand and said, you know what, I personally, and the other volunteers, don't want to do this forever. Okay, we don't want to constantly be fighting these enormous developments. That's why we have made the decision, after this is number 3, that we're actually going to endorse, which is what we're doing tonight. We took a lot of time to make this decision, but yes, now we are in the Jackson Crossing, which is the complex on Jackson and Main, right in that little corner, possibly the worst located of all the 3 proposals that we have been involved in. We can win this too. Honestly, I don't even think this is the hardest one. I think that this is just, getting a little tiring because it's going back to the drawing board again. I don't know if somebody put something in the chat. Okay. Jackson Crossing. So I wanted to show you the timeline. Wanted to show you the timeline. December 7th, 2020, Village of Fishkill Trustees meeting. That was that years-long fight against the FCON project, which that was when it died. Okay, we December 7th, 2020. The project was not advanced to the planning board, so it was dead. However, why is that important in relation to the Jackson Crossing? Well, let's talk about this. 2 weeks later, the mayor at the time, Mayor Miccio, set a public hearing date for January 19th, 2021, and to set a building moratorium for 6 months. I remember that was a good 6 months. I knew we didn't have to worry about anything. Really happy time. They passed the moratorium. I have, by the way, I have links, and all of the links to all of these dates and the meeting minutes and things like that are now on our website. I just did that a few minutes ago. February 3rd, 2021, Mayor Miccio announces that there will be a Village of Fishkill Comprehensive Planning Committee meeting. At the time, Kathy Martin, who was not the mayor, was invited to join the team, and she accepted. And we have looked to find anything in regard to what that comprehensive plan committee talked about. There is a comprehensive plan listed on the Village of Fishkill website. However, it's from 2008. So we have had to FOIA. We are like, basically FOIA is probably half of what we do right now, because we have to dig really deep to find this stuff. So we have FOIA'd this is the Freedom of Information Act, for those who don't know. We have FOIA'd information so that we can look through what that committee, talked about and what they discussed, to see anything in regard to that plan. July. So then fast forward, July 15th, 2021. The Village of Fishkill met to discuss zoning changes, which included they increased the height of buildings 40 feet west of Jackson. This is that little in italics there, if the planning board approves, is important to know, because this means that the planning board has a right to turn down buildings that are higher than 35 feet. Okay, so the planning board, if they approve buildings that are that high, that can be done west of Jackson. That was new. The zoning changes also included almost doubling the density allowed west of Jackson. And the zoning changes also included allowing residential units on the ground floor west of Jackson. If the planning board approves. And I have a note in here that says that the county, Dutchess County, recommends against allowing residential units on the ground floor because it has a tendency to deaden business. That's a quote from their documents. So the village is aware that, having residential units on the ground floor is not a help or boost to business in the village. September 7th, the Village of Fishkill met to discuss the proposed local law, Bill C 2021. Again, this is something else we've had to FOIA. We believe that Bill C 2021 is what turned into local law for 2021. Again, this is linked on our website, but but here's some more information about it. And this is what, here's what I just kind of outlined, right? Residential units permitted where subject to planning board approval, and the density, the density increasing as well is all on this bill. September 27th. Well, and September 7th, according to the minutes on September 7th, which again are linked on the timeline on our website, the public hearing, the public hearing was to be continued on the 27th of the month. So we go ahead and we look on the 27th, the minutes from the meeting on the 27th, and they, nowhere on these meeting minutes does it say that the floor was opened to a public hearing. However, it does say that it was closed. So lots of questions there. We don't know who attended. We don't know if there were comments. What the end result is that the law was passed 6 weeks later. So in November 15th, 2021, it was passed into law. July 2023. So we're fast forwarding to just a few months ago. We noticed that there was a public hearing for a site application, for a site plan application for that intersection on Jackson and Main. This was just kind of happenstance. I don't even know who it was who alerted us, but then we turned around right away and we're like, okay, here we go again, buckle up, right? September 21st. So we alerted the community, we let everybody know. September 21st, 2023, council member Daniele attended the village meeting where there was a public hearing. She read a statement that was signed by Ozzy Albra, who's the town supervisor. And on September 25th, the town council members Brian Rye and John Foreman and Carmine Istvan sent in a letter of support, or an email rather. And I do want to say that I have seen that letter of support, and I apologize. We had asked Carmine to send it, and he did, and I cannot find it. I will say that I read that letter, and it was a good letter. It was very much saying to the village, we support our residents. We've heard a lot of complaints, et cetera, et cetera. And I apologize. And if Mr. Rye or Mr. Foreman or Mr. Istvan are seeing this, I really do want to include it on our website. So if you would mind resending it, I'm happy to do that. On October 3rd, 2023, there were volunteers in our group who met with Mayor Martin, Trustee Ruggiero, and the village building inspector to discuss our concerns. And it was during that conversation that we became advised that the project has zero businesses in it anymore. It is 100% residential now. So there's not even a pretense of it being, being something that will open new businesses and to the community. October 16th, trustees meeting. The trustees made a statement saying that they would write a letter to the planning board asking them to keep the 20-foot buffer, because there was a 20-foot buffer that there was, I guess, a change to it, there was a 10-foot buffer, and they were asking for a variance to keep it at 10 feet rather than the 20 feet. And the letter was read at the planning board meeting, and their buffer did increase as a result of that letter. We have some concerns as to what that means as far as snow removal and things like that. But now I'm going to move into what's new. October 19th, 2023. I did want to include this because Hans Klingson is the planning board chair of the village, and his statement, honestly, from what I can tell, he really, really likes this project. So, him being the chair of the planning board is a concern if we're fighting this project. And he said the aesthetics of the building fit perfectly with the village, maybe not the center of the village, but at that corner, yes. I don't know what that means, but that was something that he stated during that meeting. We have gone over the new site plan, and we noticed that it had the new site plan. So this is what's new. It was reduced by 8 parking spots. They were going to take all the trees down. There are 3 left. And as I stated in the slide before, the 10-foot buffer is increased to 20 feet. And I have heard from some residents who have said that they're upset at that because they they're asking, where is the snow going to go, which is a valid question. And I see your hand up. Go ahead. You're on mute.
As it turns out, during the meeting, the developer's engineer stated that the 20-foot buffer was going to be on both sides of 39 Cary. But when we actually looked at the plans, the 20-foot buffer is only on one side of that house, not the other. The other side still remains the 10-foot. And the regulations are a 20-foot buffer. What they were asking for was called a buffer reduction.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate that. So I'm going to talk about the elections coming up. So if you have I'm just going to go through who we're nominating or we're endorsing, and then I'll open it and happy to answer whatever questions come up. So, who are we endorsing? We are endorsing Ozzy Albrecht. And I'm going to tell you the reasons. Number one, Ozzy worked with us to fight the Baxtertown Road development back in 2009. He was not the supervisor at the time, but he was very helpful to the Keep Fishkill Beautiful volunteers at the time. I don't even know we were called that, but he was helpful in doing that. He worked with us to fight the Church of the Nazarene development, which we deeply appreciate. He signed the email to support residents in the fighting of the apartments at Jackson Crossing. That's the one that Louise Daniele read during that meeting. And that, again, that letter is linked to our website. And he worked on several initiatives well, I guess I jumped a few. I'm seeing this. He accepted our invitation to debate, or the forum that we're creating. Apologize if I'm using the wrong word. Instantly, he was very happy to accept that. He worked on several initiatives as town supervisor to mitigate traffic and protect resources, and his voting records show a consistent support of residents in response to concerns about traffic. He has provided us with this quote: "I'm proud to keep my campaign promise from 4 years ago to put the citizens first over developers. Over the past 4 years, I have enforced the zoning laws stopping 1,400 high-density housing units from coming to Fishkill. The taxpayers were saved $35 million in costs to build a new school. I worked with the county to build a new Washington Avenue bridge and build a new overpass on 90 by the Newburgh Beacon Bridge. Many thanks to Keep Fishkill Beautiful for their endorsement. I look forward to fighting for residents for the next 4 years to keep Fishkill beautiful." We are also endorsing Greg Totino. Greg is a member of the County Transportation Council, where he actively works to bring matters relating to traffic in Fishkill to the attention of the DOT. He stood with residents at the Village of Fishkill Planning Board meeting and spoke about the Jackson Crossing apartments. That was probably one of the key things that we liked, was what he said during that meeting. And again, he agreed instantly to join the forum. He said, "I've spent the past 4 years working for the town of Fishkill alongside Ozzy Albrecht to put residents first, and I am proud of all that's been accomplished. It's critical that our town supervisor has partners on the board who are committed to work hard and tackle issues like traffic and overdevelopment. I thank Keep Fishkill Beautiful for their support as we continue to fight for our community in regard to the number one concern of residents, traffic and overdevelopment." And here is Don Pristula. I believe that's how we say his name. And I apologize, Don, if you watch this video and I am screwing up your name. I will not do that again. He was actually a member of the Comprehensive Planning Committee. So I actually worked alongside him on that committee. He also agreed to the debate, and he also spoke at the Village of Fishkill public hearing about Jackson Crossing. Plus. And his words, which I asked him to send me, but I haven't gotten them yet. to share them, but they were very effective. And I thought he really spoke from the heart. He said, many thanks to Keep Fishkill Beautiful for endorsing me in the upcoming election. Our natural resources are fragile, and I vow to maintain our precious aquifer and green spaces. To do this, we must control development and stand behind our zoning ordinances, which should not be altered to please developers. I was proud to stand beside the residents of the town and village at the recent Village of Fishkill board meeting and speak in opposition to the apartments at Jackson Crossing. As a town council member, I will fight for the residents of Fishkill so that we can leave this beautiful town to the next generation better than ever. You know, and what I like is from these three candidates, they gave statements that are, you know, not political. I feel like they're pretty clear on the fact that they are against developing and you know, against irresponsible development, you know, and pro the residents' concerns. So we are very proud and happy to endorse these three candidates. Debate update. So the forum is canceled because we were not able to get the other candidates to consider it. As a matter of fact, I want to say in no uncertain terms, they were, I got a little yelled at. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I was at the town of Fishkill meeting, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I was at the town of Fishkill meeting, and I got up and, you know, again, at the town of Fishkill meeting, and I'm happy to, you know, we might as well share that link on our website as well. There were several members, as I said, of the village and of the town who got up and said, you know, like, we would like you to join in this discussion. And, you know, we had John Foreman got up and said, you didn't give us enough notice. You know, I can't just turn it around on a dime. Mr. Rye said that he, it's his anniversary on the date we were doing it, and it wasn't possible for him to do it. I actually got up after they said those things. And because I was trying to just keep an open mind and say, okay, you know, all right, let's take them at their word. We didn't give them enough notice, which we didn't, you know, it was short notice because we just thought of it at the last minute. And then we said, and then I thought to myself, you know, and so we can change the date, right? Like, I was sitting there and they were saying the date's bad. And so I stood up and I said, okay, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Foreman, after this meeting, everybody's here. Everybody, I think, except for Don, because Ozzy was there, Greg was there, you know, I said, why don't we just all take our calendars out and pick a date that works? And it can, and I approached them after the meeting, which was no longer recorded, and there was no not even pretending to look at a calendar. It was absolutely not, we're not interested in doing it. As I told you, I have a conflict. I'm too busy. It can't be done. Very inflexible. They did it. They were speaking loudly and aggressively, which is kind of par for the course with the town of Fishkill, you know, vibe, I guess, you know, so maybe they were just still in that vibe. But they were very adamant. I would say, you know, I think it's fair to say that there was a little bit of anger there, which was surprising to me. And then they left. And so that was really what, you know, we were left with really not much choice as to who to choose. But, you know, as I explained in the earlier slides, it was not a difficult choice from what we've researched and what we had already known about some of the candidates. So we are going to continue these Keep Fishkill Beautiful meetings. Our next meeting will be Monday at 7. The first part would be open and the second will be closed, where we have volunteers discussing a few logistical things. So save the date. Town elections are November 7th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. there is early voting, which starts this Saturday. That's what I'm doing. I am going to be hopping into early voting because I don't want to wait till the 7th and have to worry about it. So it's easier for me to go to any one of these other early voting things. And okay, where to vote. So, and then before I take questions, I want to say after questions, we're going to go into a closed session with our active volunteers, and we're looking for help with a few things. Number one, we need help going through all of these FOIA requests that is taking a lot of time, even if you can just help with 1 or 2 of them. Number two, we're going to be doing some really fun things with the candidates who we are endorsing. We want to do some man on the street interviews. I don't know if I'm heading it. My name's on there. Who knows? But we want to put together, we really want to highlight who these candidates are and see if we can get them elected, because this election will set the scene for years to come for our village. And if we really are concerned about traffic and congestion, these are the candidates who are going to protect and advocate for our concerns. We are looking for people to help us on other social media outlets other than Facebook. I would love to get us on Nextdoor. We have a Twitter, and an Instagram, just somebody to spend a few minutes a week just helping us share the information that we get. I want to get even more people to come to next week's meeting. So I'm thinking of put together like a little flyer we can leave in people's mailbox. So I would love to kind of know if anybody would consider walking up their street and handing out flyers to get a few more people on the call. And this is important. I'm looking for content creators. We might want to do some ad campaigns. It doesn't have to be anything extreme. I've done some really basic editing in an app called CapCut, which is just basically, merging videos together so that they make sense. I would love somebody who has graphic design experience. I think it's time that Keep Fishkill Beautiful had a logo and could do t-shirts. So if you're anything like that or have any knowledge of how to use those systems, let me know. I fumble through it. I do not know what I'm doing. I do my best, but there are certainly people out there who I think could do better than me. Now that is through, does anyone have any questions? And you are welcome to put them privately in the chat to me if you don't want to, ask them publicly.